Debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil, Refracted Curvature, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning, folks.
Good morning, Nathan.
Good morning. Good to have you all. Let's do a housekeeping question. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
93 million miles away, according to school books.
That needs an R value based on an radial extrapolation in spherical terms from a flat Earth measurement of Polaris at its minimums, otherwise known as the equator, aka minimum elevation angle measured off a flat plane to Polaris.
No, you can't measure.
Interesting.
Hold on. Go ahead, Matthias.
I was going to say, no, you can't make any measurements to the distance of the sun.
No, they infer them with flat Earth extrapolations.
We can measure an angle to the sun,
Right.
and we require Earth to be flat for that.
Right.
Absolutely.
But the thing with that is accuracy and qualification, right, are two different things. What you're measuring and how accurately you're measuring aren't the same thing. Just for people to get confused by words.
Yeah, in terms of angle measurement and celestial navigation, the base principle is that you're dealing with and negotiating a horizontal plane of reference. Now, that's useful for calibration of the tool if you're using a Mariner sextant, but ultimately it's comparable to, if you say the flat plane of reference is a car, and you say, okay, I accept that by comparison, a flat plane of reference is a car. Now, if you're going to measure the car, and you say, well, you haven't got really advanced dolly-mounted, laser-driven 3D rendering software to get micron precise measurements of the car, therefore it's not a car. That is akin to saying, well, if we take reference plane measurements and angles with respect to it, it's not a flat plane and we're not measuring it because it's not accurate enough for a measurement that would be describing its flatness relative to a different surface plane, in this case the same surface plane. So it's like saying I'm not measuring a car, or it's not a car because I haven't got whatever measurements I want to satisfy. Like, or better still, you've got your same example. You've got an example where you do have dolly measurements, and they go, well, for all your measurements, micron accurate, it doesn't tell me how fast it goes to 60. Therefore, it's not a car. Yeah, Earth is flat. It's referenced as flat, utilized as flat. The base principle for navigation is flat. When you take measurements with respect to it, they are flat. You calibrate your tool to that flat plane. It couldn't be any more geared towards this is Earth, it is flat, that is how it is measured.
But you're not measuring the Earth,
and
you're just measuring angles, right?
Hold on a second.
Yeah,
It depends.
hold on,
What
let's
if
just
you
answer that
measure
guy's
a
question. Stop a
0-degree
second.
angle?
Hold on, John. He said, you're just measuring angles. No, we're measuring elevation angles. I don't know how many times we've got to say
Okay, yeah,
this.
elevation angles, but you're not measuring the surface of the Earth.
What's
So
an elevation
you're not
angle?
measuring-
Who's speaking? Is it Fresh Grown Flowers? Fresh Grown Flowers.
Yeah.
So we've already clarified that we are measuring an elevation angle. It's a very specific type of angle. And
That's
you're
fine.
saying,
There's no
I'm still
contention with
talking.
that. It's just when you say that you're measuring the Earth flat, you're not measuring the Earth. You're measuring an elevation angle.
Yeah,
So you're speaking out of context.
Sorry, you think that the context of an elevation angle is not with respect to Earth? Let me just give you a definition of what an elevation angle is, so we're all clear. The altitude.
I don't need that. I understand.
Well, shut your mouth while I give it my audience, because you're a fundamentalist religious zealot who's just told me elevation angles have got nothing to do with Earth, and I'm going to read out a definition that makes that absolute garbage that you spouted proven wrong to my audience with definition that you don't care about. Shut your stupid globe-believing mouth while I define what the term means. Altitude angle, sometimes referred to as solar elevation angle, describes how high the sun appears in the sky. The angle is measured between an imaginary line between the observer and the sun and the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. Sustainable by design, altitude angle. So Globe Believer says altitude angle, otherwise known as elevation angle, nothing to do with Earth. I read out definition of what an elevation angle is, and it specifically says horizontal plane the observer is standing on in the definition. He says nothing to do with the ground. No, it's specifically referencing the ground. That's what an elevation angle is. He didn't listen to a single word I said. He chanted through it just for the audience's benefit. You could see his light flashing the entire time I spoke, which means he didn't listen to a single word. In his deluded, globe-believing mind, it means he doesn't have to respond to that which has been defined. And he made explicitly clear, while he chants through me as I speak now, that he didn't care about how words were defined. Well, no, it's because they're going to defy your fundamentalist religious belief that elevation angle measurements don't have to respond to and reference the ground when they do. It's part of the definition of what an elevation angle is. You said it had nothing to do with the ground. You were wrong. Fresh grown flowers.
No, that's a straw, man. You don't listen well at all, do you? It's hard for you to have...
Sorry, don't project. Right, I'm going to mute that line while I tell the audience that he didn't listen to a single sodding word I just said and chanted. You saw his line flashing in the Discord server as I was talking, which means he didn't listen to a single word I said. Rather than responding, his opening ad hom is to tell me I don't listen.
Are you done?
Elevation angle measurement specifically references the ground. You said it has nothing to do with the ground, and when I went to define it, you said you didn't care. Ever since I've got into defining what an elevation angle measurement is, you have talked non-stop incessantly through the top of that definition coming your way, so you don't have to respond to it. It is the ground, it's part of the definition. You said it wasn't. There's him responding to me in the middle of me correcting him and pointing out how wrong he is. I've got the line closed. The audience is hearing me correct you over and over again. Your incessant chanting and fundy muting of me isn't succeeding. The audience is hearing me and seeing your line flash, knowing, so they know you're talking while I'm talking. No, you said it wasn't the ground and had nothing to do with it.
That's all right. The people in...
Yeah, there's me opening the line so the audience can actually hear the chanting zealot who doesn't want to hear it. It's part of the definition. Now, either you acknowledge that without chanting through me, I'm going to remove you from the call. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do it. Fresh grown flowers. I've refuted what you stated.
You done crying?
It's an ad hom. So for the audience's benefit, this is what pathetic globe believers do when they lose. He says nothing to do with the ground. I go and cite that it is specifically in reference to the ground. He chants constantly through me, tells me I don't listen, and then asks me if I'm done crying. Absolutely pathetic. Not the ground, you say? It is. It's part of the definition.
What's the measurement of that ground since you're measuring it, Nathan? How long is it? What's the distance?
Sorry, is that a segue away from the fact that you were wrong? Is it a pathetic man that can't concede he's wrong? You were wrong. You said it had nothing to do with the ground. It's part of the definition. Now you want to take it onto a different subject because you're a coward and can't face it. You're wrong. No humility. You were wrong. Accept that.
The asking how far it is when you're talking about an angle measurement is like asking what yellow smells like, dude. Do you know where you're at?
It's asking how fast the car can do after you've done a laser scan of it. How long? It's an angle measurement with respect to the ground. It's part of the definition. You said it wasn't the ground.
You're not measuring the Earth.
So it's part of the definition that you wouldn't accept it. So that he can chant, it's nothing to do with the Earth again. He's spoken the entire time I've defined the words that he said had nothing to do with the ground. So at the end of me pointing out it's part of the definition, he doesn't have to accept it, can rinse and repeat, it's nothing to do with the ground. It's everything to do with the ground, it's part of the definition. You haven't accepted that. You've told me I'm scared, you've asked me if I'm crying, and you've chanted through it every word of it, and then asked me if I should, what, listen better? No, you were wrong. It is the ground. It's part of the definition. You haven't accepted that, and you've just literally chanted through. This has been a 5-minute attempt for me to get you, the fundamentalist religious zealot, to accept that it is most assuredly part of the ground when we define what an elevation angle is. You haven't listened to it or responded to it. You're a coward.
What's the measurement of the flat Earth then, since you're measuring it?
What's it? An elevation angle?
The flat Earth, you fucking idiot.
Remove him. He's swearing at me now. Hey, that's the true sign that you've lost. You've lost your temper with me.
Yeah, kick him out.
Zealot. Yeah, it's the ground that we're measuring flat when we take an elevation angle with respect to it. That would be the horizontal plane the observer is standing on, as per the definition. You no longer get to take part, fundy zealot. Share your pain. You need to swear at me, do you? Because you're in a lot of pain, because we're referencing the ground that's flat for an angle that requires it to be flat. Yeah, you'll say it's not the ground. You're like Charles. Lying globe believer Charles, flat earth math, who says there's no right angles in celestial navigation. Like you, he just needs to lie. That's what you guys do. I put a little video about it this morning, off the back of Brian's video where he's detailing very specifically what we actually do in reality with the triangles. Now, they don't reference curve baseline, so Charles lying glurf says no triangles in celestial navigation. Why? Because you're all liars. When it doesn't meet your standards of globe faith, you decry what we do in reality. When in reality we're referencing the ground, the horizontal plane the observer is standing on, as per the definition, this fundy glurf liar will lie through his back teeth and chant through me, and then project the fact that he doesn't want to listen to how much it references the ground when he says it doesn't, and tell me I can't listen. That's what you glurfs have got to do in 2024. It is pathetic. You've lost so badly, and you end up swearing at us now. And the tables have completely turned.
Not only that, what they'll do is they'll get naive flat earthers that do not understand this fact that we've been laying out, and they'll tell them that it can't be done because the ocean, the waves, and the boat is rocking, and, it's not accurate. So it can't be the ground.
Okay,
That's why you use the horizon on that rocky sea, right? Because you're not going to take an elevation angle in the middle of a storm where you have 20-foot waves with respect to a horizontal plane, 20-foot waves. But anyway, you're not going to take the elevation angle then. You're going to take it a gentle rock, I would say. You're not going to take it, when it's cloudy and storming and there's, pressure differentials everywhere creating waves. You're not going to do that. But you will rock the instrument to establish your vertical, use the horizon as horizontal to establish your angle between your line of sight to the horizon and that celestial object. That is your measurement. That is not an elevation angle because you haven't applied dip correction at that point. But that's what you use the horizon for.
Indeed. What say you, globe believer? Had it been in response to something a globe believer said, like, it's not the ground we're dealing with, he'd have chanted through every word of that, wouldn't he? Had he not been removed, he wouldn't have tolerated that fresh grown flowers guy. Right? Wouldn't tolerate it from me. That's what you globe believers are like now. You've been reduced to this. Where is Proto-Thad? He's telling Matthias how celestial navigation's done. Is he? Ooh. Okay. Because he's done it. It's done. By these globe believers who say, oh, it's not very accurate. Well, why are you being appealed to again? Because you've done it.
Yeah, I think Fresh Grown Flower's last question was more or less related to, if you're claiming that the Earth is measured flat, then how big is the Earth?
Right, it's an angle measurement as opposed to a size measurement. We just covered this like literally 5 minutes ago.
You can. So if you can't, couldn't you put the pieces together and?
I just gave you an analogy. So I'm taking a measurement with one of those scanning tools, like you can do with your iPad now, right? With LiDAR. You walk around the car with your iPad, you get a really accurate LiDAR scan of the car. I present it to you and say, look at my car measurement. I'm not quite finished, Matthias. I say, look at my car measurement. Yeah, there's the second attempt. Let's just close Discord line, because I'm obviously not going to get to this after the third attempt, so I'll just close that line. I've got no option. So you get, he's not listening, by the way, so this is only for the audience now. It can't be a back and forth anymore. My opponent won't tolerate it. He doesn't want to listen to my point of view, me explaining that when you measure a car with LiDAR and an iPad, and then you come along and say, well, how fast does it go? And I go, I can't tell you from this type of measurement. It's not a speed measurement. I'm not going to get a mile per hour out of it. You go, well, it's not a car then.
Yeah, that's how idiotic it sounds. You're right.
Angle measurement. You understand that's an angle measurement. One of the lines requires Earth be flat because that's what you're measuring. It's part of the definition I gave to that guy that didn't want to hear it 16 times. He didn't want to hear it. You notice, Matthias. Just want to clarify with Matthias. I'm nearly done. You notice he didn't want to hear it and lied about what Earth was being referenced, even though it's part of the definition, Matthias. Did you notice that the Globe Believer lied just then? Fresh Grown Flowers lied about it having nothing to do with the Earth. When I came to define it, he didn't want to hear it and chanted through every last word of it. Maybe you didn't get to hear it. My audience did. The definition included that it was part of the ground, and because you didn't hear it in Discord, because he chanted, it means that he precluded you from hearing the truth, Matthias. Yeah? He raped your ears so you didn't get to hear the definition that very specifically references the horizontal plane we are standing on. It's part of the measurement of an elevation angle. You didn't get to hear that because the chanting zealot stopped you. He precluded you knowing the truth, just like Protothad did. They're just deceiving you. They're pouring poison in your ears. Meanwhile, you're here shouting at us while we try and communicate the truth to you. The facts, with citations and backup and definitions that get chanted through. Just so we're clear about what's going on here.
Well, when you first tried to give him the citation, he didn't want to hear it.
Well,
Five
if
attempts.
you measure something to be 22 degrees Fahrenheit, how long is that? Because measurements are only of length. How long is 22 degrees Fahrenheit?
Right, we're dealing with angle measurements with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. In order for the functionality of this measurement when you move forward with it into the calculations, after you've measured the world flat, will require that you appreciate it's flat because everything's going to be running parallel with it along a plane. And that's what you're going to be navigating. It's the ground you're going to be negotiating. So you must understand at a base level, it is and must be functionally flat for you to actually use this system to find your way around on it. What's that? It's not the ground. It's not a measurement. It's not flat. You're all dumb. You don't have to like me saying it. I'm going to keep saying it when we get to these points where we're measuring the ground and its flatness for a flat angle. It's Earth. We're navigating it and negotiating it. It's called navigation. There's a reference plane. I mean, we reference it. We're measuring. And when I hear back, not flat, not measurement, not Earth, I just think you're stupid. So if you're an audience member going, oh, I don't quite understand that. It's Earth. It's referenced. We're measuring an angle. Every single aspect of principality in this single example of navigation requires Earth be measured flat. It is that simple.
Yeah, it's just not the globe ground. It's the flat Earth ground.
It's just not giving a size or differential from vertical plane from horizontal for elevation differences in topology. It's like, this is an angle measurement with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. Earth, in this instance. What's that? It won't show how high or low the tides are. It won't show the sea bobbing up and down. No, it's not. It's not that kind of measurement. We're measuring the car with a LiDAR scan and asking how bloody fast it goes.
Well, give me the temperature.
This is causing
Yeah.
a lot of
You
things.
scanned it thoroughly. How hot is it?
That's where we're at. I mean, I get more resistance from flat earthers and anti-flat earthers. Globers just accept it. I don't get it.
Because they're
Yeah, they accept it and they try to persuade some flat earthers.
They're manipulative. Censorship is the way it works. Matthias didn't get to hear me define what an elevation angle was. He got to hear my opponent say it's got nothing to do with the ground. And then the opponent, Fresh Grown Flowers, decided that so long as nobody in the Discord server hears the actual definition of what an elevation angle is, I can as long as I chant indefinitely, restate that it's got nothing to do with the ground at the end because no one's heard it. So no one's going to say, hey, he just defined it as being part of the ground. What are you talking about? No one got to hear it in Discord. That's their trick. One trick pony, fresh grown flowers. Feel free to return tomorrow and actually respond to what I say. Maybe rather than asking me how long something is when you take an angle measurement with respect to a horizontal plane of reference the observer is standing on. End quote. Sustainable by design when defining an elevation angle. That's the debate the audience want. We're not getting it though, are we? From the globe side, they don't want debate anymore. It seems that they don't want to hear it. They want to chant through it and then reassert their fundamentalist zealot position because they're on a globe that doesn't exist anymore. So no debate's going to be tolerated by globe believers anymore. It's you guys putting the kibosh on the debate. Could have had it with fresh grown flowers if he was just prepared to listen. He wasn't. He was prepared to project his inability to listen by chanting onto me afterwards. Total scum. We're dealing with scum. Scum zealots. Don't like that their religion's being taken away from them. Tough luck.
Nathan, because Mighty Mush, they went over it with him yesterday. I'm sure they did because I heard him say it. Yesterday was a measurement, but today it's not. So they've gone over it with him. I'm sure they have.
Well, the key that it involves the Earth is in the title, elevation, angle. If your game is to deny that it has anything to do with Earth, you're just lost.
What is elevation? You mean like the height off the ground?
I guess not.
I don't think it's got anything to do. When you say height, I think it's with respect to the middle of space. When I say 30 feet, it's got nothing to do with the ground. When I talk about elevation, how high you are off the frigging ground. Why are flat earthers so stupid? Why are we surrounded by conspiratard numpty dipshits that don't understand this simple stuff? Elevation angle, you say, no, it's nothing to do with the ground. How can it be with the ground? Elevation itself could only be with respect to the ground. What are you babbling about? Let's define what an elevation angle is. Oh no, we're just taking an angle. It's just an angle. You're all thick. How much longer are we going to have to put it with just an angle? Not the ground, not a measurement, not Earth. Let's define what the angle is. An angle's a measurement with respect to the flat Earth. There you go, it's part of the definition. Oh, I'm not happy with that. I don't accept that. In fact, I'm not going to listen to it and chant through it incessantly, even though you'll make 5 attempts to define it for me. And then I'll say afterwards, it's not the ground, again. Or it's not an angle, again. Or it's not Earth, again. Or it's not a measurement. It's all of those things, you dumbos. Why aren't you getting this? Yeah? What did the globe have? Fresh ground against that. What did he actually have? Did he have a response? Did he have a rebuttal? No, he had a lot of chanting, didn't he? That's what they actually have. They just don't want you, the audience, to realise that just quite yet. Yeah? Be quite convenient if the people who are in the Discord server, some of them might be on the fence, don't get to hear the full argument. You get to hear it, though, and you're more important than me in this respect than Discord. Because they're getting rumpus, they're not getting to hear it, so I can appeal to them. You, the audience, do, though. The minute that crap starts up, I've said it yesterday, I'm going to tolerate it, close the Discord line. Keep telling you, the audience, what you need to know so you don't have to decipher it through some chanting fundy who's decided, nah, there's no way the audience is going to get here that it's absolutely the ground and part of the definition of it. How could it not? We're talking about elevation angles. Elevation itself could only be with respect to the ground. How high you are? What, how high you are in space with respect to nothing? Obviously not. We're talking about the ground here. But they don't want it to be about the ground, do they, the globers? Because it isn't their globe ground anymore. It's a flat ground. So you need to start poisoning flat earthers, telling them how inaccurate the methods they've used with sextants are. It's sad. Where's the debate? Where's the rebuttal? There isn't one. They need it flat too. When they get to that, so long as you don't appreciate how flat they're using the world in measurement form, they'll use it and move on to how globe-shaped it is, and you won't notice. As long as they can keep that little trick in the shed, don't let the horse bolt. Yeah, well, I'm smashing the doors and setting the barn on fire. It's measured flat. It's Earth. You just have to understand it. It's really simple. Sooner you understand it, the quicker you can go smashing globe heads in with it.
And it's actually part of their rhetoric. It's so biggie, it's flatty. I don't know why we're getting such resistance from flat earthers.
When they say so
Yeah.
biggy it's
Of course we
flatty, they
measure it.
don't mean the ground. What, the one they're building railways on? Yeah, it's not the ground. Yeah, they measure it and build rails, doesn't it? It's not measurements. So biggy it's flatty. Well, it can't be measurements, can't be ground, can't be a... No, you're just idiotic. They say it's flat because it has to be. That's how they build on it. They make apologies for why they have to do it flat. But it's just because it's so big. I mean, it'd be inappropriate to measure it globe-shaped when we build on it completely flat. So it's just, you know, it's built on flat, and that's just because it's so big in that. So the globers have no problem telling us how flat it is. Because it is. Earth, that is. Flat, that is. Measured, that is.
Well, see, it's the thing, because when we talk to anti-flat earthers, they're flat earthers too. They just don't like it. They don't want it to be what it is.
You're just measuring an angle.
Yeah, it's just an angle. All right.
No.
What about an elevation angle? No, I don't want to be how that's defined. I don't care. That's what the globers have got. Any advance on that absolute garbage from fresh grown flowers from the globe side? Maybe someone would actually like to respond to the fact that no, part of the definition of an elevation angle is that you're going to be using the Earth. Obviously. Clearly not. But yeah, what? It's not a good argument, say you flat earthers. Yeah, you got screw loose. Anyway, we're going to be covering woke Jesus. No, I'm only joking. We're going to be covering this. If I get past the advert, it's Is the Earth Flat by VLAD. I don't know how to say his surname. VLAD. That's who it's by. So we'll cover this. Has somebody put it in as a time-stamped point? Because we're already 1 minute 59. Is that intentional, Vlad? The other Vlad.
Nathan, I don't know what the hell you just said. I heard you say my name, but you're roboting. Try saying that again.
Oh, really? Okay, I think it's just for you. Well, I hope it is.
It is just him. It's good for me.
It did it for you too?
No, you're good for me.
Okay,
it's
cool.
just mighty.
Yeah, it's just his connection. That's fine.
No, it's the way you pronounce
Thank you,
the
Neil.
last
Thank you.
name,
Thank you,
Nathan.
Neil. Thank you. So, did you set it to the timestamp of 1:59 or?
No, that's probably how much I watched. No, I didn't.
Yeah, so you just click share at the point that you were. Yeah, fine. So if I start it from the beginning. Okay, right, let's get into it. As always, while we're starting, please let this videographer, Vlad, know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. The idea being that, obviously, with us sharing the algorithmic love, limited though it is from this small channel, were they to do a response, they would share that algorithmic love for us back in return by putting a link to my video in their video, if they were to respond. Highly unlikely. There's a good chance this person's going to have his ass handed to him and then not like us and want to promote us in any way, shape or form. But you can but try. And all I can do is show good faith and send my audience to him to send him some good cheer, a nice comment that says, hey, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Love your stuff. Or whatever you want to say. So please let him do that. Yeah, please do that right now if you're in the live audience. You can see in the on screen in the live stream chat, as the show is currently live. You can literally click on it right this second and do it, and I'll keep babbling on with my call to action over and over again, hopefully while you do that, so that when you come back, you can still hear me doing the same call to action, and then we'll get into the video. So yeah, Vlad's videos had 16,000 views, and it's only been out a day. Wow. Oh, he's got 1.42 million subscribers. That's probably why. Well, good for you, my friend. More power to you. Let's see what you've got to say on the subject. Hopefully that's given enough people a little bit of time to actually go and leave them a quick comment. There's 100 people watching the live stream here, so hopefully at least a couple of them, maybe 10%, you'd hope for a call to action, would go over and actually leave them a comment. So anybody got any comments on this video if you've watched it previously, or if you want to preface what I'm about to do, which is just press play? Go ahead, speak now. Clearly not. Right, we'll get straight into it.
And biblical references that support that the earth is not flat. And then at the end, I'll share my encouragement and also a little bit of a warning. Number one is the common sense arguments that the earth is not flat.
Right, he's starting with common sense arguments that earth is not flat. Okay. Wouldn't he be in a position to just prove it's a sphere? Wouldn't that be the contrapositive? in Western world viewpoints, it's not contrapositive in literal terms, but the contrapositive is perceived to be globe versus flat, as opposed to common sense arguments that the Earth is not flat. Doesn't sound like a great start.
Well, we have pictures of the Earth from space.
Right, who wants to deal with that? Anybody?
There is no pictures from space. There is no space.
Vlad was first. Go ahead, Vlad.
Said there is no pictures from space, and space does not exist in reality. It's a direct
pictures from Narnia
of nature. Pictures
One more
from
time.
Narnia.
Yes, that's right, Narnia. Elvis, go ahead, Vlad. You were about to justify why it was not real.
Vacuum of outer space possibly exists in reality. It's a direct violation of a law of nature, entropy. Second law of thermodynamics.
Perfect.
Space is fake.
Space is fake. This area, which this guy believes is the place the space-based photos came from, is claimed to be a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum. This is high-pressure gas. This is a 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum. If that was the case, it isn't. This is garbage CDI nonsense. Nobody's going out to this area. Then the gas at high pressure would fill this space. It's a law of nature. Entropic law. Dispersion. The second law of thermodynamics describes entropic dispersion. That would be to say the gas will fill the volume available to it. Entropy. Debunks space. There is no space. You haven't got any photos from space. You're deluded. And furthermore, deep down inside, you know that's the case because you've not got pictures from space. You've never been there, and you can only trust the priesthood that say they have. Now, they haven't, and I can categorically prove they're lying, but up until this moment, you had faith, because you certainly haven't been to a second law of thermodynamics sky vacuum violation, have you? Just had faith in the priests.
Also, your supposition that the stars are at a near infinite or infinite distance away is a supposition within the celestial sphere model, which is with respect to a flat plane. So yeah, your concept of space comes from a flat Earth.
Absolutely.
Also sit on the beach and watch a ship go.
Ships over the horizon? Now, if the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, every distance to that geometric sphere edge horizon you think blocks boats and buildings, it's been decried by your own side for the last 4 years, but nevertheless, you're sticking with the original globe rhetoric, so I can attack it with the black swan. Every distance to that horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, exactly laid down in your Earth curve maths that begs the question and ignores perspective, hijacks it and turns it into a sphere edge below surface level, which is flat, and the derivation in the maths utilises a differential between the eye level and the surface level to infer that there's a geometric horizon that only exists in maths for you to claim it's blocking boats and buildings. Distance to horizon in the black swan, beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere edge hill getting in the way, at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as declared by your maths. Therefore, the horizon is not Earth curve, and the Earth is not a sphere. It was debunked in 2020. This is garbage.
Go up over the horizon. You can watch the sun go down, even though...
That's the same stupid claim. So you've got a sphere edge physical hill blocking the sun now, rather than a boat. It's the same claim. If Earth was a sphere radius 3959, every distance to horizon measurement could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as per Earth curve mathematics. Distance to horizon in the black swan, beyond the geometric limitations of 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, for your hill to get in the way. Therefore, there's not a hill getting in the way. Earth's not a sphere. Black swan, 2020. This is garbage. Same garbage, different bottle.
Also, sunset's a rhetorical device for describing elevation angle changes of the sun. So you need a flat Earth to describe your sunset.
Yeah, the angle differences that would be used to calculate and describe this sun will be with respect to a flat plane.
we know the sun doesn't rise and go down, but you can see them quickly climb on the tree and watch it go down again. Take a picture of the stars at night from the foot of the mountain, and then climb on the mountain and take another picture of the stars, and you will see more stars from the top of the mountain.
You having me on? You're saying if I put a giant physical obstruction between me and my view of stars, and then I go up on top of the thing that was formerly obstructing my view of a horizon in the distance, I'll see more of them. I mean, I'm not even going to compare this to your supposition of it being a globe proof. You didn't preface it in any way to suggest it proves axial rotation or sphericity. Nevertheless, in literal terms, what you've just described is going up a mountain and seeing past the mountain where it formerly blocked your view. Do you really have these low of a standards for your claims? Because this is stupid. Obviously, if the mountain's not in the way of stuff, you're going to see it. Wow.
Travel to Australia if you're an American.
When you go up in altitude, the stars aren't changing, dude. What are you talking about?
No, he didn't specifically say that.
The same elevation angle to the stars. What is he talking?
He didn't specifically say. I was waiting for him to say that, and I would have critiqued it just as you are. But he didn't specifically say that. You know, you'll see more because you're raising up, and in the same way you can have a full sunset and then bring the sun back. It seemed like that's where he was going for the stars. He wasn't and didn't. He's just saying you see more of them based on what he said verbatim. You see more of them when you go up the mountain. And I'd be like, yeah, it's not in the way anymore. It was blocking your view of the stars that were at the horizon below it, behind it. Sorry. Now you're up it. It's not in the way anymore. So what?
America,
yeah,
or
but if you just take the mountain out of it, right, and you're on the ground and you look out, you'll see the same stars that the guy 100 foot above you will see.
Correct.
What is he talking about?
Okay, yeah, that
doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense because he just contextualized it with the mountain itself. So I can only take it at face value of what he actually said. But you are correct. If in terms of the actual presentation of the stars and the angles off a flat Earth you'll measure when describing them, those angles either off a flat Earth, using a flat Earth, calibrating with a flat Earth if you're using a Mariner sextant, or calibrating your tool with respect to, say, a bubble and drawing out a plane of reference in the sky, parallel with the ground. Regardless of which one of those two methodologies you do, both, if they're directly above each other, will give the same angle measurement. They don't change as you raise in height. They remain the same angle at all elevations. So if you're measuring a 30-degree angle to a star with respect to a horizontal flat Earth that you're referencing to get this angle, it won't function if it isn't measured flat Earth, that is, when we measure this angle. If it's 30 degrees on the ground, it's 30 degrees at 30,000 feet in an aeroplane. It's the same angle. Can't not be. The almanac wouldn't work if it didn't have the same angle. It does. It doesn't change. That's John's point. I mean, that obviously makes no sense whatsoever if you've got the Earth falling away and only physical obstructions obscuring your views of stars. That isn't how we dealt with them for the last God knows how many hundreds of years. The way we do deal with them is with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. That's Earth being measured flat.
To America if you're in Australia.
Sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say, just that alone, how you just described that, I mean, it's obvious to a duck. What's going on in the world today? What's going on in our own community?
I don't know, Neil. Sometimes things just take a bit of time to penetrate.
Yeah, and look at the night sky, and you will see different constellations of stars. Shadows of two same-size sticks placed in different places on Earth.
Will prove a flat Earth's being measured, you complete clown. Are you serious? He's going to talk about angle measurements with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. He's about to measure a flat Earth, ladies and gentlemen. This is a flat Earth proof.
Are different lengths. Test this by calling a friend in a different city and having them measure the shadow of a stick that you have sent to them. New York and London have different times, which you...
So he's moving on from measuring a horizontal plane of reference and the difference in the angles off that horizontal flat Earth that you just measured with the sticks and shadows. John, you did this in the pre-show. You can have the glory. Go ahead.
Right. The supposition that Earth is, or presupposition that Earth's a sphere that they all use, requires you take elevation angles off the ground, like Eratosthenes. When you measure the angle between the tip of the shadow and the top of the stick, you use the Earth as a horizontal plane to establish the angle, to then calculate that Earth is a sphere. Calculations aren't proof. If they don't comport with measurement, they're invalid.
The measurements in this instance are flat Earth measurements. There can't be anything else. They wouldn't be an angle if they were anything other than a flat Earth measurement that he absolutely unequivocally requires. We're all familiar with sticks and shadows and the claim of angles. Angles are straight lines. One of them's the ground. So for this globe claim to stand true, you must accept that Earth is being measured flat, because it is, for their example to then move forward and calculate it spherical.
You can check by calling your friend in London or Sydney or Beijing. This is because the sun is shining on one part of the Earth and the other part is in darkness.
Yeah.
The Earth is round.
Sorry, that's non sequitur. That's a non sequitur conclusion. Saying, I shine a torch on this bit, it's light, and then I shine the torch over there, it's dark. Therefore, unicorns. It's completely non sequitur. Therefore, Earth is round. Because we've got light bits and dark bits, Earth is a sphere. You need to put a bit of in-between bit, like a bit of logical consistency in between your suppositional statement and your inevitable affirming of the consequent fallacy, followed by your conclusion that Earth is a sphere. I mean, what you're doing is making a purely, totally baseless assertion. What you're not doing is even formulating into a fallacious form of reasoning. I mean, this is so crap.
Nathan, he said round. He didn't say a sphere.
Yeah, but it was still non sequitur. I don't care if he says hexagon-shaped. If night and day, then hexagon. If night and day, then round. If night and day, then sphere. It's completely non sequitur unless he inserts either a begging the question fallacy of axial rotation, which will absolutely unequivocally require a horizontal plane of reference to describe, or assert that we've got physical orbital motion, in which case I'll refer you to Kepler, the origins of Kepler, the ephemeris, and the flat plane angle measurements of the stars. Either way, he's going to need a flat plane. He just didn't insert the, I think this is a globe methodology, actually it's measuring a flat Earth, in between him saying night and day, therefore round. He didn't insert anything. It was completely non sequitur. It was the lowest of standards you could possibly use in fallacious reasoning. Non sequitur fallacy. Garbage. This is what we're up against. My God. The world's being dumbed down if this guy's got 1.4 million subscribers. Shout out to Theo Megawerty. Neil, what's going on in, quote, flat Earth is that many people want to be at the top, wherever personality or argumentatively, that's a hard word to say, envy is a green-eyed monster. Thank you very much for the super chat, Theo Megawerty. I don't know why that was directed at Neil. You want to be on top, Neil?
I don't know why he's mentioning me. I don't even understand what he said.
The title of this show is What's Going On in Flat Earth or something like that. I just kept yesterday's title till I know what we'll cover. So I think he's referencing the title of this show, which will eventually get changed to VLAD. Is it Savchuk? I just pretended to not be able to say the letters as they're said. Is it Savchuk? Can someone actually say his surname so I've at least said his name out of courtesy once correctly?
Yeah, you're right.
Nathan, I think we should start calling this guy Vlad and Flat Earth too.
Yeah.
Nah, don't
Mush in
confuse
chat
this
is Vlad.
bastard.
Mush is Vlad, but fortunately he's Mush because this guy's Vlad for now.
No, but I know, so far all his argument proves Flat Earth.
Oh, sorry, you were actually on track while I was sidelining about the panel. Thank you, yes, for getting us back on this railroad. It hadn't entirely derailed.
The second reason why I believe the Earth is not.
At least he understood that all of that last category was one proof. Yeah, at least he recognised it as one single claim. I don't know how that changes what we said about his star claim. I'll have to give that some thought after the fact. We'll move on for now.
Not flat is because of scientific evidence. Gravity is a force that
Oh my
Not for
God.
100.
Off him.
Not for 109 years, mate. No, you're just poorly educated. What's the other word for that? Ignorant. Gravity has not been a force for 109 years. Maybe the editor of Scientific American can clarify this for you. His name's George Musa. Gravity is not a force. You can think of it as a force. George Musa. Scientific American.
Pardon me, but you don't.
Yeah, but that's not
You don't go
science.
to the, but you don't go to the shape. Like if you're wanting to know the shape of something, you don't. That's not a scientific question. Like it
Correct.
just proves that everything he's getting ready to say after this will be wrong because of that statement.
Correct. He's in a category error.
Yeah, he just proved he don't know what science is.
Correct, Neil. He's in a category error. Talking about shapes, geometry. Well, what science? Cause and effect reasoning based on observing natural phenomena. This isn't that. He doesn't know what science is. Correct. Neil, what's going on in Flat Earth? Is that... Oh, no, you've already read that. I thought there's another one. Oh, yeah, here we go. Neil, you literally asked the question a minute ago. Mandela effect. Whoa, 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 says Theo Megawerty. Thanks for the super chat.
Oh, he's talking about when I asked what's going on with Flat Earth because the evidence is so obvious. I got it.
Can you get a few more things wrong? It's very profitable. But in all seriousness, thank you for the super chats. Really appreciate the support.
pulls everything towards the center. Because of this, the Earth and other planets naturally form into round shapes, like balls.
Hasn't been a force for 108 years. Gravity is currently described as the bent pseudo-Riemannian force space-time invented in Einstein's mathematics. You don't know what you're talking about.
This is easier to understand than...
You don't understand it. You're 109 years out of date. Why are you telling an audience what they understand with your wonky eye? That was a bit of an unfortunate pause moment.
Forming them into flat shapes. Physics laws, which are the same everywhere in the universe, make the planets round. Not
Physics laws? No. Let's not smash these two things together. Laws of nature are descriptions of that which occurs always. Physics is the study of the physical and natural world, aka the scientific method. Natural science. Natural science isn't natural law. Natural law are descriptions. Science explains. Did you want to add something, John?
Well, it's kind of back to that. Well, how big is it? You know, the Earth, whenever we point out that they're making flat Earth measurements, they want to go to a non sequitur of how big it is. But to make the statement that these laws that we experience on this earthly realm apply everywhere in creation, you'd have to have been everywhere in creation. So I don't know, does it?
He's appealing to laws to justify a non sequitur with planets and gravity as a force, making them into ball shapes, based on what the priests have told him. He hasn't experienced any of this. He hasn't been out to a sky vacuum, but he is going to appeal to natural law. Fine, even if he calls them physics laws. Either way, well, what about second law of thermodynamics? Obviously, given that you're talking about these laws, you're well aware of the second law of thermodynamics and gas dispersion into sky vacuums, if we had one. We haven't. Here you are appealing to natural law. We describe second law of thermodynamics. We don't just say, natural law, therefore flat Earth, like you do with your garbage standard. We go, no, you say sky vacuum. We say second law of thermodynamics, description of that which occurs always. In all circumstances, gas fills space. There is no exception. It's a law of nature. The same one you're appealing to without justifying precisely what physics law you're actually appealing to. We would actually debunk your sky vacuum with a law of nature. You, on the other hand, don't know what physics is. 1.4 million subscribers.
Not flat. It's like how water forms into drops It's the
He's got a puddle of water with a horizontal line for the puddle that it's dropping into, and he's appealing to the momentary circular water when in motion temporarily for what the entire spherical world retaining spherical water. No, water finds and seeks its level.
the same natural shape for
Where's it all gone? Why is it all flat again? I mean, that lasted half a second and now it's all flat. Yeah, they use that
Don't forget
principle in
about-
building. Go ahead.
Sorry, don't forget about flat ice.
Yeah, shout out to Mark Sargent. What about if you froze it? It would be perfectly flat. That's why you use it for ice skating rinks. Big shout out to Mark Sargent.
planets. Space exploration, for example.
It's a second law of thermodynamics violation. There is no space. There is no exploration of a violation of that second law of thermodynamics description of gas expanding into space, because all the gas we're breathing would have expanded into space. We'd all be dead if there was space exploration. We'd be at 10 to minus 17 torr at sea level. We're not. There is no sky vacuum. It's utterly absurd, but you're going to appeal to it. What, because you've been there? No, you just trust your priests who say they go to sky vacuums and find soil there.
Astronauts in space
I
have
know what
taken many.
This video is for confirmation. This is for Globers that just want confirmation. They don't want information. They just want their bias confirmed.
Yeah, he's not doing a very good job of confirming it. He's proven a flat Earth a couple of times, and he's made non sequitur conclusions that we've got around Earth.
Many photos of the Earth, and these photos clearly show that the Earth is round, like a
Clearly show what? That you can take pictures from a second law of thermodynamics violation? Have they been clearly verified by you going up to the same area akin to Narnia through the wardrobe, aka the high pressure gas that we're all breathing, into an area of volume that their gases aren't filling, to verify that they definitely took real pictures from that fake place that doesn't exist? No, you just took their word for it. And now you decided to tell me that they're definitely pictures and it's definitely round. Let's have a little look at one of them.
ball, not a flat, like a pancake. Satellites and space stations.
So let me get it straight. This satellite is into the sky vacuum, right? It's into the 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum bit. And these clouds below are defying entropic gas dispersion. They're not expanding into the sky vacuum, even though they've got availability to it. No, they seem to be going through a phase change. That would be the water, the vapor from the sea that's evaporated. It's going through a phase change. It'd have to be under containment for this to occur. What's that you say? No, it's just got a 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum next to it. It's all good. It doesn't expand. It doesn't follow natural law. And here's something in there to prove it. You're not going there to check, but obviously it's really expensive.
Orbit around the Earth.
Orbit is a description that requires flat Earth elevation angle measurements to Polaris to derive an R value. For the mathematics of Keplerian orbits. I mean, no doubt that he hasn't got the slightest idea what an orbit even is. Nevertheless, you'll need a flat Earth measured to give you those orbits. You'll have to derive an R value from somewhere, and you'll be deriving it from a flat Earth angle measurement to the star known as Polaris, for the latitude grid that you'll later stretch around a ball after measuring it flat. That's where you get your R value for your Keplerian motion you call orbit. You'll need a flat Earth for orbit, clown!
And they can only do...
What's this? Is this a sky vacuum? This is a very strange picture. Obviously, it's a photograph. It isn't. You're an idiot if you believe it is, and you'd think you'd have some if you were going to claim that they're all photographs, obviously, according to you. Meanwhile, this is high-pressure gas. Like you have in your tyre in your car. Now, unlike a tyre and a car, there's a very, very small difference between the high-pressure gas in a tyre and the atmospheric high-pressure gas that you would describe in this circumstance. Sphere-shaped air, you say? So why isn't the gas dispersing into the sky vacuum? It's because it's CGI. It doesn't have to. It doesn't need to follow entropic law. It's completely made up. This isn't a real picture. If the sky was a vacuum, 10 to the minus 17 torr is inferred for things to float around in derivations of flat Earth measurements and calculations on paper, not in this CGI rendering. Obviously, this isn't real. But you've got high-pressure gas not filling space, defying a law of nature. Gas fills space. That's what it does. It's called entropy. It's a law of nature. But in this image, nah, gas is cool. It'll chill out of the Kármán line. Yeah? Have a few cakes, maybe go back down to Earth, go down, go boom, boom. You know, because Thunderfoot says it goes down, go boom, boom. You know, gas gets up here and just goes, nah. I'm not going to do what I am going to do as gas. I'm not going to follow law. Screw the law. I am what I am, and I've decided I'm going to go back down, go boom, boom. I'm not going to follow in whatever vector I was travelling at a high rate of speed until I collide with something to form pressure. Hell no. I'm a gas particle. I am strong. I'm going to burn my bra in defiance of natural law and stay here. Not going into the sky vacuum. This is garbage, mate. You've been duped. There's no sky vacuum above your head.
Do this.
Did anybody else want to add anything after that little rant?
No, you did pretty good there.
Because the Earth is round. If the Earth were flat, they wouldn't be able to go all the way around it.
The description of going around, if you're going to claim sphericity, was inferred by the measurements I just described gave Kepler his orbital motion. Flat Earth measurements.
You can see different shapes of the moon and the shadows on other planets.
Shadows by presupposition on other planets. They're sky-based claims, not ground-based claims. So Earth not flat because light in sky. That's fascinating non sequitur. Meanwhile, we make angle measurements with respect to a flat Earth when we use those stars to move around the ground. But you're just going to appeal to how they appear and what you say are shadows? No, you see, the explanation that you come up with as a globe-believing numpty for what you claim are shadows without verifying them are what we already demolished when you claimed orbital motion. That's how you explain it. I just look at the flat Earth measurement that was used in the first instance, the origin, the genesis of those orbital motions, when I point out it can't possibly be sphere-Earth orbital motions. You wouldn't be measuring a flat Earth to infer it if they were. You'd be measuring a sphere-Earth. You don't. You measure a flat Earth and then take it to the maths to infer sphericity in orbits. That's what Kepler did.
These are cues that they are round and the Earth is the same. Third.
Oh, so you've got cues, like hints, that the Earth is a sphere. I mean, I thought you had photos a minute ago. Obviously, we've debunked them. You can't hear us debunking them. But obviously, with that in hand, you've now got hints that we've got a sphere Earth, have you? No, we've got measurements of a flat Earth, and that's where your globe claim comes from. So there's no hints. The claim of sphericity comes from those flat Earth measurements. The ones of Earth that's flat. It definitely isn't the case that your reification of this mathematics has some sort of hints in it in reality. No, the measurements in reality are flat, mate. Maybe you didn't realise.
Thirdly, what about biblical references about the Earth not being flat?
Without causing any offence to Christians, who cares? We've got measurements of the Earth. We've got maps of the Earth. We've got navigation systems with respect to the Earth. And we've got angle measurements for the stars that you appeal to with non sequiturs that you are used to navigate around on the Earth when measuring it flat. So who cares what the Bible's got to say about it?
The Bible doesn't set out to teach anything about science. The Bible is not a science book.
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of Christians that would beg to differ. There's plenty of cause and effect reasoning laid down with phenomena in the Bible. He just doesn't know what science is. How can you decry what there isn't in the Bible if he doesn't know what the thing he's decrying it with, not having, is? You don't know what science is. How can you decry it not having any if you don't know what it is? You can't. You won't. There's plenty of Christians who disagree with you.
And this is not a judgment whether the Bible is true or not. This is
sorry, whether or not you, who doesn't understand what science is, say that there isn't any in the Bible is a complete non sequitur to whether or not the validity of the Bible is true or not. Why is it with these complete non sequiturs? These two things are in no way connected. It doesn't have any recipes for cheese sandwiches, so yeah, we can definitely question the validity of the Bible. What? Non sequitur much?
This is a judgment about the topic of the Bible. The Bible seeks to address the spiritual saga of fall of humanity. Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit, the reality and the consequences of humanity's rebellion against God. We see Cain killing his brother Abel. We see also humanity's...
Well, he's got some substance when it comes to the Bible. He's obviously at least semi-learned when it comes to information from the Bible, because he's put some padding in for some of his claims. Completely non sequitur for Earth. I already decried this. Nevertheless, at least he's putting some padding in now.
Redemption by God. God calls Abraham. He fashions the nation of Israel.
This is the padding that you were lacking when you were talking about if night and day, then sphere Earth and that. Yeah, you need extra little bits to actually pad your claim. But it seems like the only padding you've got is from the Bible that you say isn't proving a flat Earth, and I say has no relevance when you've got measurements of the ground that we're standing on. Go ahead, Neil.
What is he going to tell me about Joshua chapter 10? Is he going to get into that?
I don't know.
If he's looking at up in space, right? Is he going to tell me that the sun stood still in the sky? Or is he going to tell me that God caused the earth to stop rotating?
That's not what it says, so maybe he's a heretic. We don't know. He's not doing that this minute, Neil.
Israel, and finally brings forth Messiah and humanity's future destiny in the golden city, far better than the Garden of Eden. So that's really what the Bible is. It's this timeline of God's creating us, we messing up, consequences of sin, God brings forth redemption, and we see God is going to bring the final judgment. He will judge sin, he will judge Satan, and he will make everything right. So with that said, the Bible does say things about the earth, the Bible does say things about the sun, the moon, but it's main
Maybe you will, Neil. We'll see.
message, like Jesus said to the Pharisees, search the scriptures, for they testify of me. In Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22, it does say, it is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out heavens like a curtain and spreads them like a tent to dwell in.
Okay. Circle, two-dimensional.
Sound like a ball to me.
Doesn't sound like very much more like a ball to me. Is he appealing to this?
This verse describes God as sitting above the circle of the earth.
Yeah. That'll be a flat circle then. Circles are two-dimensional.
The term circle here can be translated...
Oh, you can change it, can you?
...as to suggest a round shape.
Circle is a two-dimensional flat shape. It's very clear. If it's a circle, it's a circle.
While the original Hebrew word used for a circle may not directly mean the sphere,
I wanted to mean sphere.
Oh.
It may not mean sphere in Hebrew. I take it to mean sphere.
the imagery of God looking down upon earth implies a round, encompassing view, which aligns more.
So how can you have an all-encompassing view of a sphere if you're looking down on it? If you're looking down on a sphere, you'll never have an all-encompassing view. This is self-contradicting.
Or
And so
that the
if you
earth...
look down on a two-dimensional object, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, if you're looking down on a two-dimensional object, all you would see was a line. So it has to be laying flat for you to see all of it.
Yeah, but they'll say God could do anything, so he could look down on a globular earth and have a full view of everything.
Yeah, God
That's
can
the
look...
way they'll twist it.
When God looked down on the circle of the earth that I take to mean sphere, he had 7/6 actually infinite over 6 refraction and could see his own arse.
Right, and down is with respect to the horizontal plane of reference. It's already assumed within the question that it's laying flat.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't
looking
catch that.
exactly,
You're right.
looking down, perfect. Yeah, why didn't I focus on that straight away? Beautiful.
My goodness.
is not flat. Job 26:7 says he stretches out the north over empty space. He hangs the earth on nothing. This verse is particularly noteworthy for its ancient insight into the nature of the earth in space. The phrase "he hangs the earth on nothing" suggests that the earth is suspended in space without any visible support. This aligns with our current understanding of the earth floating
No, space would be something. Remember Neil deGrasse Tyson trying to describe nothing? Yeah. Yeah, nothing is nothing. Space is something. You're
This is all
confused, my friend.
this is all they go to. Hangs on nothing. That means it's a globe in the middle of space because God said it.
God didn't say it. Copernicus
But
said
space
it.
is something.
Go ahead, John.
I was just saying, space is something. It's an area that gas could fill. That's what space is. It is something. The Bible doesn't say it sits on something without gas filling it. That's not what the Bible says.
All right. So when you're saying hangs on nothing, nothing's very different to an area of volume called space.
Yeah.
Floating in the
Remember Neil
vacuum.
deGrasse Tyson and his stoner friend trying to describe nothing, and they couldn't? Like they kept on, well, if you talk about space, there's nothing in space. Well, yeah, well, space is something. You know, that you're not going to be able to describe the Earth sitting in space because space is something.
Vacuum of space, a concept that is consistent with the
Right. Conceptual vacuums of space defy the second law of thermodynamics. They shouldn't be conceptual for a start. They claim to have photographs coming from them, but you're describing our conceptual mediums of vacuums. Dig it? You're off mute hot micing with screaming children in the background. Dig it? 76? Can someone serve mute him?
the Earth being more like a ball than
Can someone serve a mute? Thank you.
a pancake. What we do know is the Bible uses common, ordinary phrases
like round. I take this to mean sphere.
Like we do today.
No, today if someone said circle to me, I wouldn't just decide to reinterpret it as a completely different word. You do, because you've got a fundamentalist religious belief in second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuums that gas isn't filling, that we take photos from. I say we, your priests take photos from, so they say. You believe them, can't verify it, and it violates a natural law.
For example, we say the sun rises in the morning, or what a beautiful sunset. But we know that the sun does not rise or set. It is the earth that is rotating on its axis.
Go ahead, John. Axis, you say? What would you say, John?
I would say really lately that, yeah, you'll need a horizontal plane of reference to describe that rotation from.
Yeah, axis. Yeah, perpendicular to horizontal. You'll need a flat earth to describe an axis of rotation. Again, deriving spherical values in Keplerian orbital motions. We debunked it earlier, I won't rehash it again. But you'll need a flat earth to measure in order to derive the R value, to derive the orbital motion, to claim that you've got an earth on an axis, which will also be described with respect to a horizontal plane, to put in motion. You need quite a lot of flat earth measurement going on before you can claim any of these concepts in maths as being real in physical reality.
Giving the appearance to us on the earth's surface that the sun itself is rising. The following are the few verses that people who believe that the earth is flat use. Revelation chapter 7, verse.
Shout out to Unitox Femu. Today we are checking surface, but not word round. Your broken English is a bit like his, Unitox Femu. But thank you for the super chat.
Verse 1.
Why is it
After
go,
these things,
Why is it going to Revelation 7 and not Genesis chapter 1?
Because it's his video, not yours.
I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, on the sea, or on any tree. This verse is often cited in flat earth discussions. However, the 4 corners of the earth is the common expression that denotes the entirety of the earth, similar to saying to the ends of the earth.
Okay. Globe doesn't have any ends. What are you babbling about? So your comparison is to say, oh, it's like going to the ends of the Earth. No. There are no ends on a sphere. You just go round and round and round and round and round. But yet you're going to make a juxtaposition with the ends of the Earth, which a globe doesn't have, when describing the four corners of the Earth that the globe doesn't have either. Oh my God. What is he doing?
It's just another way of saying or referring to all directions, north, south, east, and west. And
What, you mean the directions? Go ahead, John.
No, I was just saying, I knew he was going to say north, south, east, and west. But that's all going to need a horizontal plane of reference to
Correct.
get all of those directions.
North, south, east, and west, like you'd have on a compass and drop on a map with respect to a horizontal plane. You'll need a flat Earth for those directions, my friend. What are you babbling about? I mean, a moment ago you were referring to your axis of rotation, and now you're using a flat Earth-only compass? No, don't be so silly. When talking about how it could be a sphere when it's corners of the Earth? No, north, south, east, and west will not help you do anything other than prove how flat Earth is.
And it does not imply a literal flat Earth.
No, you'd be measuring it that way, though, wouldn't you? If you're using a compass. What an idiot. Shout out to us so far. Says no Bible verse needed, just a word to prove the Earth is flat. This word is F-A-C-E, face. In solid geometry, a face is a flat surface that's scientific proof. Well, about scientific proof, but thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate the support.
With four corners. Psalm 104, verse 5. He set the earth on its foundations, so it shall never be moved. The idea suggests...
Hold on. Let's just hear that again. On foundations... What are foundations again? Like cemented into the ground, never going anywhere. Okay, gotcha. Never be moved. Okay, that completely undermines your entire principle of an Earth that moves then. You've just said that the only reason we see the sun transitioning from horizon to horizon is because it's actually the Earth moving, and it just gives us the impression that a stationary sun is moving if you take the solar-centric system and not an entire heliocentric system into account. Okay, but that would mean the Earth was moving. Should never be moved. That's a complete contradiction of what you just said in terms of Earth moving. It can't be, according to this verse.
Yeah, but now he's going to tell you what God really means. Watch.
God means sphere.
That the Earth is stationary and...
Yeah, it does absolutely suggest that it's stationary.
By some interpretations...
Not by some interpretations, by the literal meanings of the words.
Flat. However, in the...
No, stationary. Stationary. In this regard, it's not addressing its flatness. Four corners, maybe. Stretch out, maybe. Tent, meh. Nevertheless, this is addressing how non-moving it is, because it's explicitly said not moving.
The context of an ancient...
He'll appeal to a different definition, which is steadfast, and like how if you have a path and you are set on it and you are steadfast, but you're still moving, he's going to appeal to steadfast to say that our orbit will never change around the sun.
Let's see.
Hebrew poetry, foundations, and not be moved are likely expressing stability and permanence.
Yeah. Or just not moving. Like, as opposed to moving. I just said it doesn't really require any further clarity. Am I missing something? Why does this need further clarification? Oh, of course. You need to change the meanings. So we need further clarity. If it doesn't mean what you want it to mean, it means not moving. It's explicit. It doesn't need any clarity.
Not literal scientific description of Earth's physical properties. As we already said, the Earth is suspended in space. It's not...
Suspended could also taken to be meaning not moving. You suspend something. Yeah. Stop its movement, you could also argue. None of these things infer moving.
Supported by any visible thing. The word of
So what about foundations? No foundation. Just ignore that bit, right?
God holds the earth.
But
The other one,
to suspend something means that things can fall, right? If they're out of equilibrium.
I
So
suppose
the suspension requires a directionality for it to be suspended against.
Yeah, I suppose it would.
Oh, good one. Yeah, if it's not suspended, it's going to fall down.
one is Daniel chapter 4, verse 11 and 12. The visions of my head as I lay on bed were these. I saw and behold a tree in the midst of the earth, and its height was great. The tree
Height, like with respect to a horizontal plane.
grew and became strong, and its top reached to heaven, and it was visible to the end of the whole earth.
Okay. I mean, again, if you're on a sphere, that's not possible.
These verses describe Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and it's highly symbolic. The image of the tree being so tall that it's visible from the entire earth is clearly not to be meant to be seen as literal.
Why not? I mean, I appreciate you could argue it's in his dream, but he's giving you his dream for you to interpret the words that he describes his dream with literally. He's not saying the words I used to describe the dream aren't to be taken literally, is he? The words are what they are. Why do they do this? Like they're battling their own cognitive dissonance and saying, I will take it to mean something other than what it actually says.
Physical description of the earth's shape or size, but it's rather a symbolic representation of King's vast kingdom and influence.
Meanwhile, Earth is measured flat. None of this means anything. I couldn't give a toss. I'll take it at surface level because that's what we do. But we've done it for a few minutes. We're close to, I don't know, 2/3 of the way through his video, maybe 3/4 of the way through his video. And I said at the start, this is meaningless dross. Who cares what the Bible says in this respect when we have measurements of Earth and they're used for all of your claims of sphericity? Those flat Earth measurements are prerequisites for you to suggest that the angle measurements with respect to the sun and its movement, or the stars, creating an ephemeris, creating a flat plane for an equator, deriving spherical movements in Keplerian motions. All of it requires Earth being measured flat. So who cares? This is pie in the sky speculation based on a historic standard, not a measurement standard. I'm done. Does anybody else want to listen to the rest of this? It's only got a few minutes left and I don't really want to hear anymore. It's giving me a headache. Please let the videographer know, that's Vlad, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So there is a link going by right now in the live stream chat. And while we are still live, because we're going to dissect a little of the dissection, if it were, as it were, after this call to action. So please go and let him know right now. You can see the link on screen now. Go into the live stream chat because it is running right this second. Hopefully will also be the case in one of the reruns, or if you're a member and happen to watch it in the members stream. But yeah, go and let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a nice comment. Sharing the algorithmic love, even though he's a big YouTuber, I'm sure just like everybody, he still wants to grow. So hopefully that will help him in the algorithm and worry to respond and actually address the fact that Earth is measured flat. For him, us, and anybody measuring Earth, he'd understand that this standard that is actually presented with biblical historical standards is completely void and totally superfluous to requirements when we measure the damn thing. Earth, that is. It's flat. Shout out to Unitox Fermi for the super chat. All symbolism leading us to sphere apart reality. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Right,
Okay.
comments?
Let me say one thing real quick before you end. See, I don't like when they take these proofs and say these are what flat earthers say and not take you to the meat in the Bible that flat earthers use, like Genesis and Joshua chapter 10. This really annoys me.
Any other comments?
No, and you ask why they do this? Because they have to, Nathan. They have to lie about what the Word of God says to fit the pseudoscience that they're indoctrinated with and welcomed into the church.
No, I totally get it. Yeah, they have to. You've got to lie to Glurf. Anybody else got any comments on this? No? Okie dokie then. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Looks like I just got into the super chat, so I'll read that out now. As so far, sorry to repeat myself, but when it's the Bible says face on earth, face is your FE measurement. Face is solid in geometry. It is a flat surface measurement. Thank you very much as so far for the super chat. Really appreciate all of the support. Once again, if you're watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering stream, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hit me up on Ko-Fi and PayPal and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on an after show, and I'll see you all in the next video.